So we started in the last class this applications of solo model, and we covered this applicability to underdeveloped countries, like how the solo model is applicable to the least developed countries too, and what they need to do as for the implications to follow this solo model in that. Then we also have discussed the change in the saving rate as saving whenever would be increased, then definitely you would see the capital growth, though steady state growth has also increased, and the change in the capital, that is the initial capital, if you could see, there was an increment here because of the change in the saving rate. Though every time whenever the change in saving rate take place, there is also the change in depreciation too. So depreciation would also increase because the capital which you are utilizing, that is also results of the occurrence of this depreciation too. Now let's proceed for the third implication and the application of this solo model. Now this talks about the change in the technology level. Uh, the technology level, we do consider there is a parameter A, which you can see over here in this equation. Okay. So this we assume in the whole analysis of the Solovian model, if you recall the assumptions, that the technology is constant. Okay. But we also have assumed one thing, that is the technical coefficient function. Okay. This technical coefficient function is the base of the solo model, which is actually based on the possible growth patterns, and these possible growth patterns have an automatic adjustments and bring automatic adjustments into the technological coefficient function. So this changes over time, and but that's not directly a technology. So technology is basically an exogenous factor, so that is it is given to us. But what technological coefficient solo is talking about, that is itself is depending upon this capital growth and also this labor growth. But when you are fixing this A, in reality technology varies over time and across the locations too. For example, of improvements in technology over time, we can think of introductions of electric power, automobiles, computers, and the internet. For differences across locations, we can think of businesses in advanced economies such as United States and Western Europe as having better access to leading technologies than their counterparts in poor economies. To assess the influences from differences in technologies, we begin the consideration and effects of solo model from a change in technological level. Okay, so that we need to see, and this can be assessed with this equation. Now this equation talks about what, that is the change in capital growth. Okay, so it is k, small k itself is a capital per worker. Okay, so we are talking about a capital per worker growth. Okay, and then this s, which is a fraction of this technology. So we induced a over here, because when we talk about this application part, this is not always constant. Okay, so application somewhere, if in the long run, if we do talk about in the long run technological coefficient function, itself adjusted by this capital growth and this labor growth. And if some technological exogenous, I'm talking about still exogenous because it is given to us, but in long run this exogenous factor has some changes, because reality says that yes, there could be some changes in the technology. So this will induce somehow this s, which is a fixed proportion of your income. Okay, or we talk about this average product of capital. Okay, so this comes, s comes from this, but this a may induce your productivity more, and this productivity may give a rise to this s. Fine. So minus what s is generating your depreciation, because this capital whenever you are increasing, this is generating depreciation, and minus this is the labor growth. Okay, so this whole gives you what, this growth of capital. Now this basically compares two level of technology. The one is A1 and the one is A2, other is A2. Okay, so we have a two different level of technology, and we also can see that A2 is greater than the A1. Okay, Each technology label corresponding to a different curve, which is what the S is a function of YK. So YK is nothing, this is your productivity, and here this Y is also including this A1. So the S is now the function of not only this is also the function of this A. Okay. So the curve with higher technology label A2, this lies above, this SA1, and we should notice here the position of these two curves, which consider two values of the saving rate. Okay, so it means this green curve is showing, the beginning level of or the initial level of the saving, what we are doing, and this gives us this K star 1 steady state. Fine. Then this red curve is indicating the new level of saving, which gives us another steady state. So see, in the previous stage, when we analyzed, the saving is increasing because here only we are talking about the saving is increasing for any reason. So it gives us K star 1 is increasing to K star 2. So it means your steady state is higher. Here the saving has been induced by this A component. Okay. So saving is still increasing. So that's giving us same message. If saving is increasing from green to this red, then what happens? You are actually moving from K star 1 to K star 2. Fine. And then there would be a change in the triangle also, as you've seen in the last curve. So this triangle is indicating there was an initial capital which was less. Of course, the capital growth was this much. We call it also the capital accumulation. But from this to this, when you reach, your capital accumulation would now be bigger than this. Okay. So this is just an indication that this line is definitely matching to this again. But the triangle which we are getting from this to this, the more capital accumulation would be now possible because of this inducement factor of this A. Okay. So to summarize in the short run, an increase in the technology level, A, raises the growth rate of capital and real GDP per worker. Okay, so capital is increasing, that is why your real GDP is also increasing. And these growth rates, remain higher during the transition to the steady state. So from this to this, definitely these two components would now be higher. And in the long run, the growth rates of capital and real GDP per worker will remain same. Okay, why? Because we do consider this change in K by K that is equals to 0. The reason behind where the K star 1 or you're talking about K star 2, both values would be 0 here. Okay, so the process is definitely rising. But when it comes to here, then the values of these would be, and the growth would be 0. So we call it 0 for any technological label. And in this long run or a steady state situation, a higher technology leads to higher steady state capital and real GDP per worker, okay, which is K star and a Y star. So here what K star and a Y star we have, this K star and a Y star is higher now. So, but again, from this position to this position, if you will reach, this position is also indicating a 0 level and this position is also indicating a 0 level. The only thing is that the process from this to this, your accumulation is taking place higher. So it means whatever the growth in real GDP per worker is taking place and the growth in your output is taking place, growth in capital is taking place, that is higher from then to this. Okay. So what exactly the benefits of higher steady state? The higher steady state would give you, the more consumption. So that's why the people are more happy. Your future generation are more happy when you actually reach from this to this level. Okay, so that's why more saving would give you more capital, would give you more real GDP, though when you're reaching, the growth would be equals to 0. Okay, but still you're enjoying more this capital accumulation and the growth of capital. Okay, is that clear, you guys? Or you have any doubt in that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's talk about the another application, that is the consumption in the solo model. See, we do have an always difference between this labor growth and population growth. Okay, the labor force is dependent on this population growth. And we know that there is an assumption in solo model that there is an Harrod's neutrality growth factor. Okay, it means the population growth is also, coming as an exogenous factor. It means that is exponentially determined. Though we have a production function which is a capital and labor, but your production function is only talking about the productivity aspect of the capital one. So first we need to see or we need to recall the real income, which is equals real net domestic product. Okay. So Y minus this depreciation, which occurs through this capital. In other words, this occurs through saving also. Okay. Because saving is equals to investment. So this is coming from this capital utilization. So because our assumption says that everything is in net sense, fine. So we do take here without depreciation our real income. So Y minus this is the term of depreciation. So which equals to basically what? Consumption. So if I do follow this basic equation of Keynesian model as the Keynesian assumption has been taken in this model too. So Y is equals to C plus S, we all know. Then this Y minus I will put depreciation because I want the real income here, and then C plus S, and this because S is also the function of this Y, and if my Y is this Y minus this depreciation. See, the small y has been taken because Y small is indicating output per worker. Okay, so because small is the fixed proportion of this. Even consumption per worker, we are taking the C is also the small over here. So this is definitely your real income, but when it talks about the further real income per worker, this Y will also get smaller, and this K will also will be smaller in that case. Okay, so per worker analysis, why is important? Because we are discussing this consumption in the solo model. Okay, so per worker consumption analysis is important. So higher saving rate leads in the long run, higher real GDP, and consumption may increase in the long run. I repeat, higher saving leads in the long run. Okay, I think somebody is trying to enter. Let me check. Okay, higher saving rate leads in the long run, higher real GDP, and consumption may increase in the long run. Why? Because we, in the last diagram itself, I was mentioning when the saving green to red, when it is getting shift, okay, then what's happening? The steady state is changing from K star 1 to K star 2. So this area is nothing. This is, inducing the high consumption because steady state is always a long run phenomena as the technical coefficient function, which is a long run concept of this Solovian analysis. So once you are, going for an automatical adjustments of this all possible growth patterns, then this gives you a steady state, and this steady state is always a long run fundamentals. So here, if higher saving would be there, in the long run, there will be higher real GDP as you've seen. From this to this, the process is definitely higher. So more GDP and also the consumption would increase. So because we know S is also the function of Y, similarly, C is also the function of Y. So consumption would also increase. Then consumption per person we need to see. What is exactly this consumption per person? The consumption per worker multiplied by workers divided by population. Now, actually, this makes a difference between the workers and population. Why this analysis is actually very important? We know that the workers are actually earning, but not entire population. So this worker is contributing in your real GDP, fine. But number of worker, consumption per worker, that is okay. But the workers divided by population, your population may be higher than this worker. So there is a difference between this population and the labor force. So if your dependent population is higher, your consumption would also be higher in that case. So labor force participation, we are assuming here to be constant. Therefore, the consumption per worker always move along with the consumption per worker C. Okay. And what happens to the consumption per person? So when we take this consumption per person, it means we are talking about this term, which is the population over here. Okay, so this I think we need to analyze in the case of this consumption in the solo model. Since consumption equals the real income not saved, and saving per worker in the steady state is because S is the function of Y star. The Y star indicates which is an steady state output per worker. Okay, minus this is the depreciation, and this depreciation is the last one which you are actually subtracting to reach over there. So that is an optimal one, and S would be the function of this particular function. So consumption equals a real income not saved and saving per worker in the steady state. Then my function would be like this. Then C star, I will just replace this value. Y star minus, because C, if you will get the value of the C, then this gives you Y minus S. Okay. So I'll put the value of Y. So here instead taking this capital Y, I'll be taking here what this small y. So that is why small y minus this depreciation and the small k, and this also minus small s, which is a function of your productivity or this capital or then income. So the whole function would look like this. Okay, the C star, which is your consumption per person actually. Okay, and then this Y star minus this depreciation. This is the value of Y star whole. Okay, and minus this S, which is further the function of this. So I would write it same way. So steady state saving per worker is just enough to provide new workers with capital to work with. So I just, put this assumption of this Solovian model over here, that how you actually convert the steady state saving per worker, which is in the new worker with the capital to work with. Okay, so here we have this S Y star minus this K star, because S is the function of this only, which is now equals to this N K star. What is this N? Because the new workers are now added into our function. So this is further equals to this N, which is also the function of this productivity. As we know that the capital growth also is helping, this capital growth. Labor growth is also helping to this capital growth. So that is why this N multiplied by K star, because every time this K will be utilized with this number of N. So if there is a new worker, this particularly would look like this. Then your function would become C star is equals to, this would remain same, and here I will replace this value, which is S, which is a fraction of this your output now equals to NK star. So I'll just put NK star over here. Okay, so we just substituted this value in the right hand equation. Then further, what happens? There is a rise in the saving. Okay, the rise in the saving, then there will be the change in the consumption. So our equation would be like this. The rise in the saving is nothing. This is your investment. Okay, so I'll put K capital star. Okay, and this capital K star would also be equals to K star small, which is a capital per worker. So I can write this is change in K star, which is actually equals to your I. Okay, so saving is equals to investment. So finally I would get this expression, that is change in K star, small K star. So my equation and expression would be now this change in C star. Okay, here nothing is changed. So I'm now changing because now there is an increment capital. So if there is an increment capital, so everything would be changed. So change in C star would happen because of this factor. Change in Y star would happen. And then this equation you may write like this, because here also change in K, change in K. So you can take this change in K common, and then this depreciation and plus labor would now be this. So your final equation, not final, but yes, this equation and expression would look like this. Now, further you can reduce it. This is exactly what? The change in Y star. The change in Y star is actually equals to marginal productivity of capital multiplied by the change in K star. So this assumption we have read in the Edmund Phillips analysis of golden rule of capital accumulation. So whenever you are increasing capital, because it is what increment in capital, that is why your equation is changing. Okay, so whenever there is an increment of capital, you always need to assess with marginal productivity of capital. So once your marginal productivity of capital is greater than this, then it's always good to rise or to give an increment to this capital growth. Okay, so this will give you less depreciation. So our target is to reduce this depreciation. So my function of output is more potential and optimal when I would assess it that mpk is multiplied by this change in k star. So I'll replace this value here with this change in y star, and rest function would remain same. So further simplify it, this gives you mpk minus this depreciation minus this n, and your capital increment is just a fraction of this. It means your mpk should rise always, the depreciation should decrease always, even labor growth is also should be lesser. Should be lesser in the sense, whenever it gives you more returns, the capital is giving you more returns, or towards, if it is converging to the, this mpk, or we can say this mpk is equals to this depreciation, or sorry, the value of this depreciation or this n or the sum of these two would be zero. Then in that case, this mpk is giving you actually the rise of this capital growth. So your consumption, when it is increasing, because you want to reach on the steady state, and the steady state situation says that change in k by k, that is equals to zero, your capital growth would stop there. Stop means now you need not to increase your capital or the investments. So there the growth or the del parameter would be zero, but still your capital growth is maximum. So from that itself, if you want to change your capital, then what happens, you would definitely see the declining thing. So here you want to just stop because you want to attain a maximum growth. So this maximum growth has this condition, your consumption would rise and greater than zero, when always this condition has to be followed. So marginal productivity of capital is greater than this, the sum of this depreciation and plus n. In other words, if I go to this k star 1 to k star 2 is from this to this, if my target is to increase this consumption level, then what happens? Every time I have to check whatever capital is being invested, how you are investing capital from this S to S. Okay, S1 to S2, this capital increment is taking place. Okay, now, this increment is taking place only on one condition, when your MPK is greater than depreciation or your MPK is greater than your N. N, it means this function. Okay. So, if it is greater than this, then only you are able to reach on this higher level of triangle. It means the more capital accumulation. And this capital accumulation would make you reach on this K star 2. And this K star 2 indicates that here the change in K by K, that is actually equals to zero. It means now there is a no need to go for increment in capital further. Okay, so if you'll go, you may even have mpk which is lower than this depreciation, or mpk is lower than this n, or the sum of these two will be greater than the mpk level. So that's why if you want to go with the maximum level of consumption, okay, so you have to check that the mpk level is always or should rise greater than to the sum together. It means labor growth also, and also this depreciation level too. Fine. Do you have any doubt in that, guys? If you have any doubt, please ask. Yes, students. See, we started with this uh, consumption concept. Y is equals to C plus S. We know C is equals to Y minus S. So we just replace these values in the assumption what we have, because we want to assess consumption per person. So that's why we need to see the consumption per worker multiplied by workers divided by population. So always Soloviev analysis indicates there is a difference between this consumption per person and also the consumption per worker. So always your population, sorry, the labor force, which is depending upon this population, but whatever you are investing today, whatever, the capital increments are taking place, that is, giving a rise to entire population, not only to the workers. So that's why this is very important. What workers we have, because they are also consuming, and how much they are productive and how much they are making this capital as a productive one. So our target is to only stop this sum of depreciation and this n because there is always addition of a new worker. So new worker may change your this condition. Okay, so this condition has to be replaced with this equation. So this equation would justify always how to maximize this consumption by incorporating this marginal productivity of capital comparison to this sum of depreciation. Yes, students, if you have any doubt, you please ask, or should I proceed? Yes, students.
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay, let me proceed. Now we'll talk about the changes in labor input. Okay, the changes in labor input, it means we are talking about only labor growth, and we all know it is exponentially determined. This L0 is nothing, that is an initial labor growth. Okay, that is the initial labor growth and labor supply, we can say. And by the assumption of the Solow model, we have inelastic labor growth, elastic labor growth, or we say inelastic supply of labor. Inelastic supply means at a particular time period we have a limited labor supply, because from that itself we need to assess the productivity and also the utilization of this capital too. So this LCAN results from the shift in the labor force, and for example the labor force could decline due to an, yes, something I can heard. Is there any doubt? Yes, students, were you asking me something? Okay. So see here, if I would say that the labor growth is declining, and maybe due to an epidemic of disease like pandemic, what we have today, that is also can the cause of this, the labor input which may decline. Even the labor input is not coming, like the migrant people have gone, so they are not coming back to their industries and the work. So that is also the reason why this labor input is declining. Okay, so these are the different fluctuation may take place, in the world economy, and this may also give fluctuation to the capital per labor, because our entire analysis is based on what, this capital per labor. And here we are considering that is the initial labor growth. Okay, and then there is a change in the labor supply. Now how this affects, that is the the important thing. So the rise in the initial labor from L0 to L0 dash, okay, that reduces the initial capital per worker, which is K0 to K0 dash. Now this is very important, I'm telling you. As we have seen in the previous diagrams, there is one component which is what, this K0. This K0 is nothing, this is your initial capital. Now if L is rising, okay, this labor supply is rising, so this actually reduces the initial capital per worker from this K0 to K0, it means leftward, K0 dash. So initial per capital would decline according to the Solovian application. The reason is what? Because we are using in our entire analysis K by L. So if your L is rising, capital is automatically declining. So your capital, initial capital will get declined. So why? This is actually the reason why all underdeveloped and developing countries who are facing actually the problem of high population and a high labor growth, so they always face lower initial capital, and that is why all developed countries, they have more initial capital than all these countries. Okay, so this kind of a changes would occur in such countries like underdeveloped and the developing countries so far, and very rapid. That is why these countries will always face the lower initial capital situation. Now we can see effect of an increase in labor input in the Solow model. So as this is your saving function, the saving function is not fluctuating further because we are not actually making an increment of capital. Fine. There is this initial capital. This initial capital is inducing this capital growth. This triangle you can see, this triangle is indicating this capital growth, and this gives us this K star steady state, where our consumption and also consumption is maximized, but your GDP per worker or your change in K by K, that is actually equated to zero. Fine. So this blue line is actually your steady state, and this indicates your K by L. So if labor supply is increasing from L0 to L0 dash, then actually K by L is declining. Okay, because your L component is increasing. Now, because of this, you are actually shifting from K0 to K0 dash. So this is coming leftward. So this gives us a decline in the capital growth, not capital growth, initial capital only. This is not affecting steady state. See, steady state would remain same. So only thing is that your initial capital will now be lesser. Okay, if your initial capital is lesser, your pattern of growth would definitely be affecting. But this is your K star, and this K star is not being affected here. In the previous diagrams we have seen, the K star is also changing, K star 1 to K star 2. Okay, but here the K star would remain same. This is what this is the fixed here, and only this K0 dash is changing. Is that clear, you guys? So we can say that in the short run, an increase in labor input raises the growth rates of capital and real GDP per worker. And these growth rates remain higher during the transition to the steady state. And in the long run, the growth rates of capital and real GDP per worker are the same, zero for any level of labor input like L0. So moreover, the steady state capital and real GDP per worker, whether it is K star and a Y star, are same for the L. So, thus, in the long run, an economy with twice as much labor input as twice as much capital and real GDP would be there. Yes, guys, do you have any doubt in that? See, this line will also be constant because we are not inducing saving. So, depreciation will also not increase, and this K star is also not getting affected. The only thing you can see here, your initial capital would now be a leftward one because your K by L is rising. Now, the next thing is the change in the population growth rate. As I mentioned that in the Solovian case, there is always a difference between this
Hello.
labor growth and also this change in the population growth or the population growth. Fine. So this population growth indicates what? We can see here the population growth. There was the first level and then there is the end dash level. So this is coming through this L0 only. So that's why it's very important. See, because the classical assumption, I think you all remember. So, what productivity and the labor force we have, and from that itself, this population growth would now be, further would be the component of it because L is also the function of this population. So, once this population is there, then only this N can also be there. So, we are deriving this L from this N itself because we know it is an exponential factor, exponential growth factor of this population. So the high population growth rate corresponds to a higher, uh, this horizontal line, I would say this is sorry, the depreciation, sum of depreciation and the population. And this is inducing here from this orange line to this blue line. So if population growth would be there, the depreciation would now be more. Okay, the reason because what component is adding now from N to this N dash would now be more. Okay, so